Today is February 24th, 2025. I've been looking forward to this day since I moved to Guimarães nearly 3 months ago. I will be traveling with Vitória fans by bus to the Estádio do Dragão in Porto, where my journey into Portuguese football began nearly 6 years ago. My name is Howie. This is Positively Portugal. Let's get into it. My first Portuguese football match was on May 18th, 2019. It was Porto versus Sporting, and was the last game of the Primeira Liga season. And the day, not just the game, but the day had everything. The Dragão in Porto has a very lively atmosphere before games. At least it did 6 years ago. I don't know if anything has changed since then, if there's been new rules, new laws passed. I just don't know. I can only tell you what I saw back in 2019. And what I saw is a party-like atmosphere before the game outside. You were able to get beer cheap. You were able to get it very easily, actually. Same with food, souvenirs. You had the Super Dragões, I hope I said that right, the Porto Ultras out there selling their merchandise, nearly half of which said something along the lines of F Benfica. Now, the game itself was really just as good. Sporting was up 1-0, but blew the lead. Porto got 2 late goals. They won the game. And there was pushing and shoving between the players. The fans were yelling at each other. Really intense game. It was fun to watch. It even had a group of Benfica fans attend, and they got thrown out. The backstory on that one was, again, last game of the season, Porto did have a chance to win the league, and as long as Benfica didn't win, then they would have if they had beaten Sporting, and they did. Benfica played first. They won that game, and they did win the league. Ultimately, the game was meaningless, but really any game between Porto and Sporting, if you know anything about Portuguese football, it's not meaningless. It's got plenty of meaning to it. So this group of Benfica fans, they're there, and they unleash this big banner celebrating the league title that they had just won. And I'm sure you can imagine that did not go down very well in Porto. It was the one moment where there was solidarity between the Porto fans and the visiting Sporting fans, and the security in Porto got rid of them pretty quickly. You knew that was going to break down. If you had 3 sets of fans at a game, and the 3 sets of fans are the big 3, Sporting, Porto, and Benfica, then you're looking for trouble. And, that's just kind of what Benfica fans do. I've seen it this year when I went to Aves for no reason. A guy is there wearing a Benfica scarf, and you just don't see that, or at least I haven't seen that yet with Porto fans or Sporting fans. Back home, it kind of reminds me of fans of the baseball team, the Boston Red Sox. These are people who are just looking for problems. These fans, they go to any stadium in the country where their team is not even playing on that day, just to wear their stupid Red Sox jersey and their stupid hat with the big B on it. And here's a little fun fact for you. A lot of people think that the Red Sox hat that has the big B on it, that it stands for Boston. Well, it doesn't. It actually stands for bitch. But I am not going to slur Benfica's name the way I slur Boston's name. No matter what anybody thinks of Benfica, they're still the most successful team in Portuguese history. Whereas Boston is not even close to being the most successful team in American history. That, of course, goes to the New York Yankees. But Benfica, Boston, I say tomato, you say tomato, let's move on. This bus trip is not something that I really wanted to do. I would have rather just gone to Porto earlier today and spent the whole day walking around and just taking in the big city. But the weather's not so good today. It's a little colder than it's been recently, and it is going to rain at night. I did not want to deal with getting out of that stadium after 10 o'clock and working my way back to Campania to get the bus back to Guimarães. Well, to find the bus, first of all, and then get on it. I just didn't want to risk that because I felt, yeah, there might be a chance that I'll be stuck on an Uber or a Bolt getting home, spending another 30 euros, and just didn't want to do that. So I thought for this game, I'm better off taking the bus with the Vitória fans, a sponsored bus, of course. We're meeting at the Dom Alfonso Henriques. And it's not like I'm not going to have another chance to go to Porto. I mean, Vitória is going to be back there in 2 weeks just to play against Boavista. And even if that's a night game, look, there's plenty of other things I can do. I can see a second division game, maybe Leixões, or I could even see a Rio Ave game. But I think Rio Ave usually plays at night, and I'm just not into the whole Sunday night at 8:30 thing. And you actually can get on the metro in Porto and take that to Vila do Conde to see a Rio Ave game. Now, the other thing is, I've been talking about how I want to see every single Vitória game next season. I don't know if I'll actually do that. It's a commitment, and there are times when I get home and I'm just exhausted. You add that up with the fact that Vitória does not play any afternoon home games, which just makes me want to tear my hair out. But if there's ever going to be a season to do it, it's going to be next season because Vitória is not going to be in Europe. There's not going to be any really costly trip. The furthest I'll have to travel is to the Azores or to Madeira, because I don't think there's going to be an Algarve team next season. It looks like Farense is going to get relegated, and Portimonense is not going to get promoted. I don't know if Vitória has any of these sponsored trips, because obviously it would involve air travel, but the bottom line is I'm not going to have to go to any other country to see Vitória play next season. So if ever there's a time to do it, it's going to be next season. So I'll be taking some videos of what it's like at Vitória Stadium before we get on the bus. I don't think I'll take any videos of what it's like on the bus because, again, I'm not here to make anybody uncomfortable. I'm not here to ruin anyone's day. I'm just a guy who's trying to show the Portuguese football experience to a world that really, for the most part, mostly knows the English and Spanish games. And of course, I'll be taking some footage of what it's like in the stadium in Porto. So here we go. Join me on another Primeira Liga road trip to the Estádio do Dragão in Porto. All right, I am outside of the Estádio Dom Alfonso Henriques, home of Vitória Sport Club. And another reason that I wasn't too sure whether or not I wanted to go to this game. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did want to go to this game, but I started thinking it might not be the best idea in the world. Recently, the former president of FC Porto passed away. I forget his name. It was a long one. But he was the president for 42 years there. And Porto fans are pretty devastated about it. Vitória was one of 3 clubs that I can think of offhand who did not offer any condolences on social media, more specifically Twitter or X, because that's kind of what I primarily use. Benfica and Sporting were the others. Now, Vitória did have a moment of silence for the man in their last game here against Braga, but the moment of silence was interrupted by a good number of Vitória fans. I don't know much about this guy who passed away. I know a lot of people called him corrupt. People called Porto corrupt. I don't know the story. But what I can tell you is, the only thing I do know is that a man died. And in most cases, I think it's a good idea to show respect. That didn't happen here in Guimarães. So I don't know what the scene in Porto is going to be like, what it's going to be like inside of the Dragão tonight, outside of it. I hope that there's no hooligan issues. But hey, only time will tell. So behind me is the bus that's going to take us to Porto. I'm one of 3 people that are here. The other 2 are like college students. So I don't know, maybe I'm a little too old for this. This is kind of like going to be that movie Old School, I think. I already know that there's not going to be any beer drinking tonight. We could be fenced in like farm animals in the away section. And I don't know if there's going to be a bathroom in the stadium. I doubt there's going to be one on this bus. Plus, when you're talking about a 46-year-old man with an enlarged prostate, yeah, getting sloshed tonight is not going to be in the cards as much as I'd love to. We will pick this up again in Porto. Of me is going to get hurt in this, but it's a great atmosphere here at Estádio Dragão. They had a very nice tribute to their former president who passed away. Unfortunately, the visiting fans kind of let the home crowd know what they thought of him. It's not easy to record here because of how loud it is. Not too sure if you're able to see anything at all from that, but we'll check back later. So we're back here on the mean streets of Guimarães. It is past midnight here. They kept us in the stadium for 45 minutes after the game ended. Finally, when we got on the bus, it only took 38 minutes to get home. My bus driver was not having any of it. And it was weird when I got to the bus stop in Guimarães before we left. I was one of 3 people, and it was maybe 30, 40 minutes before 6 o'clock when we were supposed to leave. And then by the time I left, there must have been 5 or 6 buses worth of people. Also, some people came just by their own car. I don't know where they parked, but that's their problem. This was an elite football experience. The Estádio do Dragão in Porto is an awesome place to watch a game. It's not perfect. They do have some obstructed seats. They have some weird netting thing going on with the sideline views. The netting's not holding anything up. There's beams and everything, but it's not holding anything up. I'm not sure why the netting is there. And it's really an inconvenience for anyone who has those seats. Other than that, the Dragão, very modern stadium, really nice. I mean, great place. I can't stress that enough. If you're a football fan, you have to see a game at the Dragão. One thing I didn't like, however, Porto fans, no passion. There were probably, I'm not good at guessing numbers here like this, there were probably 600 people, 600 Vitória fans. I'm guessing most of them were White Angels. And we were louder than the 44,000 or whatever Porto fans, including their ultras, the Super Dragões. 44,000 was the listed attendance. That's not accurate. The way that stadium filed out after the game was not indicative of 44,000 people. There were probably somewhere between 30 and 35,000. 44,000, no. You can't believe these attendance figures here. I don't know how I feel about this whole away supporter thing. Because if I have to wait in a stadium for 45 minutes after a game ended, that's not always going to go down well for me. Like right now, it's past midnight. I haven't eaten anything in like 9 hours. I'm hungry, thirsty, cold, tired. I got to pee. I don't know if I would make a habit of doing this. I would really like to go back to the Dragão to see some crap team on an afternoon. I can't tell you whether I go as an away supporter or just independently. I'm never going to another night game outside of Guimarães. That's a hard no. But an overall experience on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give the Dragão an 8. I will say it looked more built up, more modern outside of the stadium than it did 6 years ago. And it's more expensive. I remember in 2019, I was able to get beer with alcohol for €80. And now there's no alcohol served in the stadiums in Portugal. A non-alcoholic beer is $2.50. A sign of the times, but you don't get a souvenir cup. When you're in Guimarães, you go to a Vitória game, you get a non-alcoholic beer for €2, and the souvenir cup is €1. So if you have 2 beers there, you spent a grand total of €5. And one other thing about the Porto fans not being loud. You know, they had that tribute tonight to Jorge Nuno Pinto da Costa, their former president of 42 years. I apologize if I butchered the name. And you'd think that they would be singing, yelling, just trying to have like a celebration of life. And that really wasn't the case. I'm kind of disappointed with how quiet and subdued the Porto fans were. And I guess if you're a team that's had the kind of success over the years that Porto has had, you're not as loud and you're not as crazy as fans of smaller clubs. But I can tell you that when Florentino Perez, for example, passes away, the Real Madrid fans are going to make it very clear what he meant to that club. So, Porto fans not as passionate as I thought they would be. Anyway, I made it back to my building, so I'm going to put an end to this finally. If you want more videos about moving to Portugal, the process of getting here, Portuguese football, anything Portugal related, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. These are the best things you can do to help a content creator on YouTube. I want to thank you all for watching. And hey, Vitória took a point in Porto. It was a 1-1 draw. I still have never seen Vitória lose. I've seen 1 win and 6 draws. So again, thank you all for watching. And Força Vitória!